It's 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 2nd, 2023. Call this special meeting and board workshop of Kingsville Independent School District order. We'll have roll call. Joe Morales. Here. Martin Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Joseph Ruiz. Here. James Glusin. James Glusing. Delma Salinas. Brian Coupal is here. Let the record show there is a quorum of board members present at this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, the State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We move to the moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. This meeting is being live video streamed. We move to item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Motion made by Ms. Salinas, seconded by Mr. Morales. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion, any opposed? Motion carries 7-6-0. Item number 5. Do we have anyone, Ms. Pettis, who wishes to address the board? No. All right, we move now to item number 6, which is communication from the administration. The first item under number 6 will be the recognition of the Special Olympic athletes. And this can be found on page 3 and 4 of our packet. Mrs. Zimmerman.
Good evening, Mr. Coonwall, board, and Dr. Pettis. I am Laura Zimmerman. I'm the Director of Special Education here in Kingsville ISD. Our Special Olympic athletes have had an exciting year in sports. On November 4th, athletes competed in Area 2 bowling in Corpus Christi after training for 2 months at the NAS Kingsville. And as I'm explaining some of the amazing things that our kids have done, we're actually going to ask them to come forward. And so we'll let them come as I explain all these amazing things that they've done. Kingsville now has a unified UIL basketball team. They competed at the regional level and took 3rd place. It was an extremely exciting event that unified Special Olympic athletes with our general education students as well. This event was on February 22nd at Toloso Midway High School. Kingsville athletes started training for basketball fields and team competition, where Kingsville ISD hosted over 700 area athletes in a 2-day competition held on March 31st. Following this, our students also competed in track and field, held at the Cabinet Field in Corpus Christi. And recently, our students, athletes, competed in a swimming competition in Corpus as well. We are very, very proud of these athletes and their hard work and training. In addition to that, on May 25th coming up, we will be celebrating with a new program called the YAPS, which is Young Athletes Program, and that's to now include our children ages 2 through 7. And we're going to be hosting a day called Future at Asian School Domes from 9:30 to 11:30. We are excited to see everybody there. And so now, as frustrated, they've been waiting. I'm going to be calling out their names so that we can recognize all of our amazing athletes. All right. Athletes. Carroll Elementary School. Layla De La Paz, Dana Alvarado, Michael Lotta, Pablo Lotta, Aiden Moldova, James Hessler, Bentley Hessler, Dionisio Sanchez, Pablo Lotta, Lillian Trevino, Julian Villarreal, Christopher Espinoza, Michael Lotta. From Pettis Elementary School, Xavier Mulligan, Bradley West, Ruben Vasquez. From Harvey Elementary School, Evelyn Reyes, Megan Gonzalez, Zoe Hernandez, Eden Wright, Javier Garces, Jordan Pettis, Liliana Arriaga, Nathaniel Isabel, James Garcia, Jacob Garza, Leonardo Pettis, Michael Reyes, Jomar Nunez, Rivera, Nathan Spicer, Raquel Trevino, from Gillette Net School, Andrew Bustamante, Adrian De Leon, Cameron Anderson, Lena Hoskinson, Xavier Gomez, Jacinda Garcia, Brianna Kent, Christopher Dees, Isabella Pettis, Matt Scobles, Caesar Pettis, Eliana Reyes, Mason Stewart, Xavier Vaca, Sierra Miles, and Jonathan Myers. HM King High School, we have Antonio Solis, Jonathan Gutierrez, Diego Carrion, Martha Nea Aguilar, Michael Juarez, Isaac Buenteo, Stephanie Fuentes, Ariana Muniz, Orion Sanchez, Aiden Castillo, Maximo Martinez, Robert Nevadas, Jalen Trevino, Antonio Solis, Kelly Reyes, and Kevin Handbright. Now, in addition to that, our Young Athletes Program, our YAPS, Carroll Elementary School, we have Reagan Alfaro, Sebastian Gonzalez, Enrique Leander, Logan Matney, Dallas Montalvo, Reina Robinson, Alicia Bella. From Hardy Elementary, we have Reina Barrera, Stephanie Benavides, sorry, Josiah Cantu, Cedric Chase, Noah Flores, Liam Garza, Gregory Hargrove, Preston Haynes, Lorian Jimenez, Dudley Montalvo, Royce Pita, Tegan Reagan, CJ Riojas, Josiah Salazar, Roberto Silva, Nora Torres, Merritt Garza, and Marcus Reddick. From Sutton's Elementary, we have Benjamin Garcia, Josiah Garcia, Liam Hinojosa, Joanna Montalvo, Darian Vecchio, and also from Pettis, we have Trayvon Garcia, Benjamin Hayes, Andrew Hernandez, Thor Herrera, Alexander Hodgins, Bryson Johnson, Sophia Pettis, Jackson Ramos, Gregorio Reyes, Josiah Taylor, Roman Villarreal, and in addition to these athletes, we also have our Marina Fuentes and Ariana Muniz. And also special thanks to Melissa and Ed Gonzalez and all of our winners. And thank you so much for the appearance, and we're just so proud of everybody. Thank you so much.
Another group.
All right, our second group to be recognized tonight will be our district science fair winners, both from K through 8th grade. And this will be found on page 5-6 of our packet. Dr. Barrett.
Good evening, board. Good evening, families, community members. My name is Dr. Bear. I'm the Executive Director for Elementary Instruction, and we are so excited tonight to be introducing our Science Fair participants and winners. We have our district coordinators here, which are also our instructional teacher coaches. Ms. Carrie Golding, she is the instructional teacher coach for Harvey Elementary. Ms. Sara Garza, she's the instructional teacher coach for Harrell Elementary. And Ms. Martha Mendoza couldn't be here tonight, but she is the instructional teacher coach for Pettis Elementary. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Ms. Golding, and I'm going to help her with the children.
All right, we'll start with kindergarten. We have Trina Belvin, first place. Finley San Miguel, second place. We'll move on to first grade. First place, Jasmine Ramirez. Second place, Haley Alanis. Third place, Naya Gutierrez. Fourth place, Abigail Legata. Fifth place, Carita Rodriguez. Sixth place, Dominique Garza. And seventh place, Levi Pettis. For second grade, I have Xavier Garcia. Second place, David Cavazos. Third place, Edward Bagata. Tied for third place, Senjo Ibanez. Fourth place, Evan Salinas. Next, moving on to third grade. First place, Xavier Burt. Second place, Catherine Garcia. Fourth place, Arnold Pettis. Fifth place, Casey Leslie. Also in fifth place, Destiny Alela Muniz. Sixth place, Madeline Kenju. Noah Solano. Eighth place, Raven Jeanette. And ninth place, Alexis Garza. For fourth grade, we have first place, Jenna Alanis. Second place, Mohammed Quadari. And third place, Avery Moreno. For fifth grade and first place, we have William Lovelady. Second place, Gael Pettis. Also in second place, Jaime San Miguel. Fourth place, Charlotte Langston. And that is all for the election.
It's holding, and then Miss Migdal is not there.
Everybody over here? Ready? And smile. Smile. One more. Smile. Last one. Smile. Thank you. Nothing.
Okay, now I'm going to announce for middle school. First place is 7th grade, Evelyn Lovelady. Alex Salazar. In 8th grade, I have first place, James Salinas. Second place, Natalia Mullen. And in 3rd place, Jaden Morga.
Need a sponsors. Thank you.
All the students that placed first to 3rd place went on to the Coastal Bend Science Fair, and we did have some students that placed there as well. And in elementary, we had Bentley San Miguel who placed first in kinder division. Catherine Garcia who placed second in the 3rd grade division. And Mohammed Quadri who placed first in the 4th grade division. And then also for the 6th through 8th grade, Evelyn Lovelady placed second at the Coastal Bend Regional Science Fair. And she advanced to the Texas Science and Engineering Fair. I accidentally grabbed one, so apologize. Xavier Burt, he also placed second at the regional.
Yes. One more. Last one.
We do have one student athlete that just came in, and so we wanted to recognize Preston Haynes.
There you go.
All right, our next group to be recognized will be the recognition of the district UIL academic meet, grades 2nd through 8th grade. And this will be Dr. Farah, pages 8 through 9 of our pack.
This year, we had numerous students participate in our UIL. It was held in Gregory, Portland. We are so excited to announce all of our students that participated. Miss Sara Garza, she is also, along with Miss Golding, the UIL coordinators for the campuses.
In the event Art Smart, we had 4th grader who placed 7th, Kelsey Spawn. 5th grade 3rd place, William Lovelady. And 7th grade 4th place, Thomas Martinez. Next event, chess puzzle. 2nd grade, 5th place, Anthony Albright. 2nd grade, 6th place, Liam Adams. 3rd grade, 1st place, Casey Lovelady. 7th grade, 7th place, Evelyn Lovelady. 8th grade, 6th place, Emiliano Olsen. And we had a 6th grade team place 3rd, and the students were Kayla Schuster, Malachi Elong, and Daniel Saavedra. We had a 7th grade team place 3rd also, and the students were Doug Sherrill, Sophia Quintanilla, and Evelyn Lovelady. Next event is creative writing. 2nd grade, 5th place, Emma Martinez. 2nd grade, 6th place, Adriana Gonzalez. 2nd grade, 7th place, Brody McKellen. 2nd grade, 10th place, Lana Resquender. The next event, music memory. 2nd grade, 5th place, Lincoln Moreno. 3rd grade, 5th place, Catherine Garcia. Our next event is oral reading. 4th grade, 3rd place, Ms. Sari Ibanez. 5th grade, 3rd place, Jaime San Miguel. 4th grade, 4th place, Jenna Alani. 4th grade, 9th place, Catalina Regalado. 4th grade, 10th place, Gianna Vargas. 6th grade, 4th place, Aria Best. 8th grade, 6th place, Neela Best. Our next category is Ready Writing. We had third grade, sixth place, Arnold Pettis. Fourth grade, third place, Miss Sally Ibanez. Fifth grade, fourth place, Fatima Martinez. Eighth grade, second place, Alexis Pickernell. Eighth grade, fourth place, Monique Gonzalez. And our final event was spelling. We have third grade, sixth place, Arnold Bettis. Fourth grade, seventh place, Mohammed Fadri. Congratulations to all our UIL participants and our coaches. We would like to thank all of our UIL coaches and coordinators for their support and dedication. Coaches, come up for a picture. Coaches, UIL coaches.
We're behind. Even if somebody want to get the steps, that'll be fine. I think. You can get on the steps. And go Braves. One more smiling, last one. Thank you.
All right, next we'll have the recognition of the H.M. King High School UIL academics team. This can be found on pages 10 through 13 of our packet. This is bios.
Good evening. HMK also had numerous students played in different academic events at the UIL academic meeting. For this recognition tonight, I would like to call Ms. Adriana Benavides. She was the HM King UIL coordinator. Ms. Benavides, will you come up to present the recognition of the students? Ms. Benavides, she's here. I know she's here. We saw her earlier today. She's coming. Ms. Benavides, will you come up to recognize the students? Okay. All right, so we had a seventh place winner in a county. This was coached by Ms. Benavides. This, we had Alberto Perez. We had in calculator applications coached by Mr. Martin Perales. We had an 11th place, Jose Reina. We also had a 16th place, Alina Guerra. In copy editing, we also coached by Ms. Benavides. We had 9th place winner, Alberto Perez. In current issues and events, coached by Mr. Hermenegildo Rios Jr., we had a 7th place winner, Michaela Carrasco. And we also had an place winner in current issues and events. I'm gonna say the name, and I hope, I'm so sorry. Arjun Nakramoni. All right, literary criticism coached by Mr. Chapa. We had 7th place winner, Damian Sutherland. Mathematics coached by Mr. Martin Perales. We had an 8th place, Zachary Hamilton. 15th place, Marina Mills. 18th place, Arjun Nakamuni, and 19th place, Olina Guerra. The mathematics team had, as a team, placed 4th. The team members were Zachary Hamilton, Marina Mills, Arjun Nakamuni, and Alina Guerra. Number 10, coached by Mr. Martin Perales, we had 9th place winner, Marina Mills. We have a 12th place winner, Jose Reina. 15th place winner, Arjun Nakamuni, and 17th place winner, Zachary Hamilton. The number 15, 4th, again, Marina Mills, Jose Reina, Arjun Nakamuni, and Zachary Hamilton made up that. We have persuasive speaking coached by Mr. Sean Cooper. 4th place, Michaela Carrasco. She was also a recent alternate. 5th place, Catherine De Santos. 6th place, Paulina Guerra. 13th place overall, again, Catherine De Santos, Alina Guerra, Matthew Nicholas, Michaela Carrasco, and Caitlin Lopez. Ready driving skills was coached by Mr. Chapa, 5th place, David Sutherland. 7th place, Mariano. And 8th place, Cindy Orchard. In the science team, coached by Mr. Corey Scarborough, 9th place, Zachary Hamilton. 18th place, Arjun Napoloni, and 24th place, Marina Mills. The science team placed fifth. The team members were Zachary Hamilton, Alina Guerra, Arjun Racamoni, and Marina Mills. Arjun Racamoni was the regional alternate, and then physics top score, Zachary Hamilton. We have social studies coached by Mr. Hermenegildo Rios Jr., 6th place, Jose Reina, and 7th place, Michaela Carrasco. We also had a one-act play team, coached by Mr. Sean Cooper. Mr. Cooper, would you like to come up and say the names of the students? Thank you.
Our one-act play this year was titled Soledad by Josefina Nigli. It's a play that was written about 100 years ago about female soldiers during the Mexican Revolution. And our kids did a fantastic job this year. We are in an extremely competitive district. Two of the plays that we compete against that district, Tulsa, Midway, and Bishop, both made it to the regional level and almost made it to state. So we had very tough competition in our district, and our kids did a fantastic job, and we're very competitive. We ended up walking away with 4th place, and we were the play that was the alternate to my district. So big round of applause for this group. We did a great job. Our cast includes, as the rich one, Matthew Nicholas, who won the All-Star Cast Award. As Maria Angela Silva. As Abigail Escanilla. Espinata Georgiana Guajardo. And Alina Guerra. And the other one, Danny Lopez. And as the leader of the Soledad, Catherine De Santos, who won the honorable mention on our Catholic. Our crew is stage manager Amy Green, assistant stage manager Julie Cisa, lighting technician John Cisa, also lighting technician Allison Boudreau, sound technician was Sadie Cortez, who won the and our stage hands were David Flores II, and having him right. Thank you.
All right, our next group to be recognized will be our fine arts program. This can be found on pages 14 to 18 of our packet. Mr. Mendez.
Good evening, board and everybody, good evening, members of the community. We are going to recognize, we'd like to bring up the Gillette Band students. And get y'all come on up here. And we'll make it a lot easier. We'll go ahead and we'll mention all the earnings and accolades of the individuals. And so everybody can be heard. We'll give a round, a rousing round of applause at the end for all the accolades. Directors, we can get you on up here also. So if I mention your name on one of the earnings or accolades, raise your hand, please. So these are the Gillette Middle School band members. And the following student auditioned and earned placement in the middle school all region band auditions. They were Joe Matthew Garza and Nia Torres. We had several students make the all region jazz in middle school. We had Aiden Chalu, Micah Trevino, Joe Matthew Garza, Julian Garcia, Gabriel Garcia, Joseph Pavon, Mark Barrett, Leon Diaz, Marisol Murillo. We had the most junior high region jazz members in our region 14. Those are the Gillette Middle School region jazz members. Raise your hand one more time. These individuals are members of the Gillette Middle School Jazz Band. They are Aiden Chalu, Joe Matthew Garza, Whitney Valdez, Andrea Solis, Jaden Canales, Micah Trevino, Julian Garcia, Rolando Galvan, Jose Pavon, Gabriel Garcia, Mark Barrett, Emily Bass, Leon Diaz, Thomas Martinez, Eva Cruz, Marisol Murillo, Stevie Salinas, Andrew Peña, and Jose de Leon. They earned, as members of the jazz band, a gold medal first division at UIL Region Solo Ensemble. They earned strength first divisions at the Tampa Jazz Festival, really reaching the top 3. We had one young man receive a silver medal for an alto saxophone solo. Aiden Chalu, raise your hand. These folks, within the realms of the concert band, they earned the symphonic band earned excellent and superior ratings in concert and sight reading. The honors band received also excellent and superior ratings in concert and sight reading.
And again, those are the accolades of all our Gillette band students that are here present today. You have to really see the shit. There. Okay.
And one more. Thank you.
Okay, let's go here, wait. Okay. Smile. Congratulations, go to it here.
Thank you.
Next, we can get our Gillette Middle School choir members on up. Okay, this is the Gillette region. These are members of the region choir. We had Annalise Chavez representing Gillette Middle School. We had these individuals earn first division superior ratings at the vocal solo ensemble. We had Annalise Chavez, Jordan Shelton, Paige Combs. We had Cris Rivera and Emalita Cadena. First division superior ratings and members of the region choir under the direction of Miss Susan Exler.
Call it for this.
All right, once again, the Gillette choir members. We, the H&T High School choir members that are present, come on up. These are the region choir members. Region treble choir, we had Adina Zeparano, Kaylin Rondon, Emma Hamberlin, Jalen Obregon Garza, region treble choir. Region mixed choir members, we had Alberto Benavides, Kelsey Butler, and Annabella Max Risby. These individuals earned first division superior ratings and are advancing to and have advanced to the UIL State Solo Ensemble in Austin this summer. Alberto Benavides, Kelsey Butler, Adina Zambrano, and Zachary Galvan. Congratulations. Principal Dr. Alice Williams, and under the direction of Ms. Susan Exler.
And one more, and pull the post for his leader, okay? Good job.
Okay, we have all the affiliate band members and everybody come on up, please. Your directors as well. Dr. Williams.
No, I was, but this.
And there's going to be quite a, thankfully, there's going to be quite a few names and things to mention. So once we get set, again, if you are, I will start with the jazz accolades and go on to the different things. If you are a member of one, and I mention your name, please raise your hand. So we have, starting with the Ancient King High School Region Jazz Band members of Jazz Band 1. We had Adriana Ganawica, Emilio Lara, Isabella Mendez, Randall Medina, Julian Mendez, Michael Rosales, Joshua Delgado, Riley Munoz, Johnny Alvarez. We're going to be the first jazz band. Again, we were very proud to say we had more than, they might as well call it the HNC High School Region Jazz Band. We had more than 50% of them in that group, so we're pretty excited about that. No, the individual that made the Region Jazz Band or Jazz Band 2, Sapphira Hallett, Juan Cantu, Miguel Mercado, Sergio San Miguel, and Adam Rizvi. We had several individuals that got either their top tier and or top placings in their respective instruments. So we had several that advanced to the area jazz. So we had area jazz band members, Adriana Ganawica, Emilio Lara, Isabella Mendez, Randall Medina, Michael Rosales, Joshua Delgado, Johnny Alvarez, Julian Mendez, and Ryan Gomez. Next step of the individual concert band region, we had H&T high school members make the region band for Arame Cruz, Billion Amigos, Isabella Mendez, Max Ridgeby, Ikari Luzon, Adriana Ganawica, and Emilio Lara, Sapphira Hallett, Cantu, Aaron Mosqueda, Joshua Delgado, Adam Ridgeby, and Emily DeSantos. We had 5 of those members that made it to the next level, one level away from the, we didn't have any all-staters this year, just one alternate, one made it, but they were pretty up. And they will probably be making it to the future, so we'll have another bracket next year, guaranteed, no pressure. Area band members that advanced were Max Rizvi, Kari Mazon, Emily DeSantos, Joshua Delgado, and Adam Rizvi. These individuals made the the Region 14 All Region Mariachi. We had Trista Mendieta, Marie Cruz, Randall Medina, Juan Cantu, Maria Goff, Julian Mendez, and Luis Salazar. We had several individuals that went to the HMP, from HMP High School, that went to UIL Solo Ensemble. We had silver medal on alto saxophone solo, Adriana Ganawica. We had a first division solo non-advancement, but still first division, Hannah Ortega. We had a trumpet trio, which was one of the coolest things. It was all female. Silver medalists were Victoria Chapa, Leslie Lerma, and Adriana Rosa. These are the individuals that advanced to the soloists. The unique thing about them, and what makes it very difficult, is that they have to memorize the solo to get certified for advancement. They can't use music. It has to be completely and strictly from memory. And some of these solos, you have to understand, are 4 to 5 pages long. So we had a flute player make it that is going to be, they're all going to be the UIL State Solo Ensemble Contest in Austin. We had Arami Cruz with the first division. And keyboard percussion solos, we're pretty pleased. Our percussion, we had several that have gone on with memory to the State Solo Ensemble. There are Jura Banda, and Lila Trevino, Julian Mendez, Elizabeth Lovelady, and Sophia Vidal. We had 3 ensemble members who received superior gold medals, advancing to the state solo ensemble. We had a clarinet choir. The members who are Belen Rios, Isabella Mendez, and Goslin, Max Witherby, Ricardo Zone, and Raylene Navarro. We have that quartet in first division, straight gold medals. So we got also press quartet. Vincent O'Reilly and Michael Rosales. Johnny Alvarez, Benito Delgado, Munoz, and Michael Gonzalez. And we'll go through these as quickly as we can. And the majority of the individuals that we named, the names are on here for the sake of having them on record, but we won't, we'll reiterate their accolades and their earnings as individual groups, quite a few. We haven't had 2 jazz bands in a very long time, and that seems to be a trend right now, even including Gillette. We haven't had one. We have 3 full-strength jazz bands. So at the high school right now, we have Jazz Band 2. They earned all first divisions at Solo Ensemble, first divisions at the Tampa Festival, and were among the top 3 in second bands in Class 4A. Jazz Band 1, first division gold medals at the UIL Solo Ensemble. They got first division superior ratings at the Tampa Jazz Festival, and they won first place overall in the Tampa Jazz Festival in Class 4A. Winter Guard indoor drum line competed in 5 regional contests, all competing and making the top 4 in all the respective competitions. Sometimes there's 10, sometimes there's 15, sometimes there's 20. So we're proud to say that we reached the top 4 in pretty much all those events. They both advanced to the Texas Educational Colored Art Association state finals, where they placed respectively in the top 10 of their divisions. They only announced the top 3, that's gold, silver, and bronze medals. So exactly where they are, but we'd like to think that if they make top 50% in all the other competitions, chances are at the state level, they're probably in the top 15. We'll take that as a pretty substantiated guess. So that was our Winter Guard and Winter Drum lines. Thank you. the Mighty Bremen Marching Band. We went to 4 contests where they earned all straight first divisions. Best in class drumline at 2 of the contests, best in class color guard at the Cal Allen Marching Festival, first in 4A. Best drum majors at 2 of the respective contests. Straight division, first division superior ratings at the UIL marching contest. Straight first division superior ratings at the UIL area marching contest. And we were the second alternate to advance to the area finals. I'm very proud to say that any of these individuals that were in the marching band, of course, COVID, there wasn't a contest, but there's no doubt in my mind we would have gotten first divisions that year. But there are another generation class of students that can tout that at any contest they went to for marching, no matter what it was, at what place for advancement, they are nothing but first divisions, all their 3 respective years. And the 4th year, they would have anyway, and I'll say it very proudly, they would have. So congratulations to all of you. Now the concert venue. Our concert band received first division superior ratings in concert and sight reading. Our H&P High School Symphonic Band also received superior ratings in concert and sight reading. Our honors band received superior ratings in concert and in sight reading. This is the 39th year that our respective varsity, which is what the standard is given for sweepstakes. This is the 39th year in UIL concert and sight reading in a row that H&P High School has come with a superior rating in concert and sight reading. Effectively speaking, also the 51st year that the marching band has received the first division at the UIL level. So pretty. It's strong stuff. We want to thank and recognize our outgoing drum majors, and then our here today. We had Darren Mosqueda and John Delgado for doing a fantastic job. Our leadership for next year going into this, no pressure with the accolades that we received. We have our color guard captains, Emma Hamberlin. And of course, Riley Mitchell. Drum majors for this year. Well, our band captain, our new band captain incoming is Abigail Mercado. And our new drum majors that will be leading the marching band as conductors are Emily De Santos and Julian Mendez. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are the accolades of the H&P High School band students in every respective category of all the things we completed. Thank you.
I can see the trophies. Now I guess. Smile and the last one. And hold the pose, okay? Speakers. Okay.
We move on to item 6G, which is recognition of elementary and secondary district teachers of the year. It's going to be found on page 19 of our packet. Dr. Holt.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Pettis. We are very excited to introduce for the first time
the district elementary and secondary teachers of the year for Kingsville ISD. The following teachers have been named elementary and secondary teachers of the year from Harvey Elementary: Jennifer Spawn. Ms. Jennifer Spawn graduated from HMT King High School in 1999. She attended Texas A&M Corpus Christi University and graduated with a bachelor's in science and education in 2007. Shortly before becoming full-time, she was a long-term sub for Kingsville and has been a full-time teacher at Harvey Elementary for 12 years. Ms. Spawn has been married for 20 years and is a proud mother of 4 girls. During her 12-year career, Ms. Spawn taught grade 4 self-contained classes. This year, she's teaching 4th grade math. She serves as a role model for student teachers, a mentor for new staff, a lead for her grade level, and a member of the campus leadership team. She has been a number sense and art UIL coach for many years and has organized the St. Jude Math-a-thon. Students enjoy the classroom environment and the different ways Ms. Spawn creates new learning experiences, especially the guinea pig. Ms. Spawn leads with heart, teaches with passion, and serves the Harvey community and Kingsville ISD with dedication. This time, we're also pleased to introduce the secondary district teacher of the year from HMT High School, Corey Scarborough. Corey graduated from Bishop High School in 2008. He went to TAMU and earned a BA. While in his 3rd year of college, he had an epiphany to visit area high schools and provide tutoring, college admissions, and financial aid application assistance. He works closely with the high school council and helped to run summer camp programs for high schoolers. During his journey, he received compliments from the counselors, students, and parents on the assistance he was providing. He also heard from many that he would make a great teacher. He decided he wanted to be an educator to help students, not only because of his experiences, because he also saw the need for educators who showed care and the value of education to their students. Mr. Scarborough is currently a composite science 7 through 12 teacher because he wants the option to be able to educate students in all available science fields, as he believes that they are all important. He has been a science teacher at HMK Early College High School for 7 years. He was nominated by a graduating student leader and received an accolade for most inspirational teachers from the Elk Lodge during his 2nd year of teaching. During his time at HMK, he organized the 2022 Winter Festival, which was a huge success, and he is currently organizing the Spring Festival, which will take place on May 12, 2023. Mr. Scarborough also helps organize project graduation and all the activities that keep the students engaged from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. His most recent endeavor is working with EF Tours to offer educational field trips for students. The students who sign up for the 2024 summer trip are headed to Italy. That's right.
Yes. It's fighting me. I don't know. There you go. Okay. You need to. It's gonna do one thing. Right. This way. Get the balloons closer to you. Smile, people bring us. There you go, hold the pose. Where's me? Here we go. Oh, dang, good.
All right, we move down to item 6H, which is the superintendent's update. It's going to be found beginning on page 20 of our packet. Dr. Bettis.
Good evening, everyone. I would love to personally thank everybody who we acknowledged today and recognized. Congratulations to our teachers of the year. Thank you to all the sponsors and the coaches who participated in preparing our students for all the competitions. When they go away to area or district meets, they're competing against 40 or 50 people. So if they get a 15th place, think about that. That's it, out of like 50 people. So we're so proud of every single one of them. So thank you so much. Okay, at this time, we're going to go ahead and look. I just wanted to remind everyone that summer school information has been posted on our social media sites, and the dates are right here and the times in case y'all had any questions about that. Okay. The next thing I wanted to remind everyone about is that on May the 11th, we're going to be having a community partner and parent meeting on May 11th at 5:30 at the Dome at H.M. King High School. And we invite any parents that want to come and find out more information about our innovation stations that we're going to have for next school year, but also partner you with some of the community partners that are interested in some of the after school programs that they have, also in any scholarship information to help pay for any of these scholarship programs. We also posted on our social media site a PowerPoint that kind of gives a brief explanation about the innovation stations for next year, gives a good overview. If you look at the calendar, and if you don't have the most recent calendar, I've got some extras. If you look at the most recent calendar, or the one that we've adopted for next year, we would have traditionally started on August the 28th, but now with the new innovative calendar, we're starting July 31st. So for those, it's about 17 days that we're going to have students in school instead of being at home over the summer needing childcare. They're going to be coming to us for those 17 days. Comes out 16 plus 2 half days. And but on the afternoons of the half days, if anybody needs some after school childcare, we've got information from the partners that are gonna meet them firsthand, like personally, and talk to them, and they will be able to answer any questions. We're also going to talk about the unified Rhema Power Hours that we're going to have on those bright blue Friday afternoons. So we'll have more information on that May 11th presentation at the Domes, and we just want to invite everyone to come out and join us.
All right. We move to item number 7, which is new business. By 7A, by common consent, the board agrees to consider as one action item the following, which is on page 25 to 42 of our packet. A1, approval of the regular board meeting minutes of April 18th, 2023. 2, approval of monthly financial report for the second quarter, January through March of 2023. Approval of monthly investment report for January through March 2023. Is there a motion to approve these by common consent? Motion made by Mr. Ruiz.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Morales. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. 7B, discussion and possible action regarding the occupational therapy services RFQ, May 2023 to August 2024. It's going to be found on page 43 to 44 of our packet. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Kufal. Thank you, Mr. Kufal, Dr. Pettis, members of the board. We have seen an increased need for services to students for occupational therapy. So once we started approaching 50,000, we went out for bids, and we received 4 different bids. You see those on your spreadsheet. One of the bids did not fulfill our needs. There was another second bid that was quite a bit overpriced compared to the remaining 2. You see, according to the 2 that are left, Helping Hands Pediatric Rehabilitation Services, they receive the highest rating. They are our current vendor. However, they have let us know that they're not going to, we have such a high need that they won't be able to fulfill all of those services next year. So what we are requesting from the board is to be able to finish using them out this year. It will go over 50,000. As you can see, projected could be as much as 80,000 next year. And also then next year, use Helping Hands for as many services as they can provide, and then negotiate with the second place vendor, Assessment Intervention Management, for all the services that the first place scorer is not able to provide next year. I'll take any questions.
What staff do these typically most coordinate with?
I will let Ms. Zimmerman answer this question.
So they would directly coordinate with myself and the coordinator, special ed coordinator and compliance officer. And then they work directly with our students on the campuses.
And you were involved in this whole decision-making process. This is a recommendation from special ed also.
Definitely, yes, sir. We were part of that. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, you've heard the presentation recommendation. Is there a motion to approve this recommendation? Motion made by Ms. Salinas. Seconded by Mr. Chapman. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. Item C, discussion and possible action regarding the allotment and TEAC certification 2023-2024. It's going to be found on pages 45 to 69 of our packet. Dr. Bessman.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, and Dr. Pettis. This evening, we have the allotment and TEAC certification. School districts are required to certify annually to the State Board of Education and to the commissioner that for each subject that is a required curriculum other than phys ed, students have access to instructional materials that cover all the TEACs. The district and charter schools will be unable to order any of the 2023-2024 instructional materials through EMAP until certification has been received by the Texas Education Agency. Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the allotment and TEAC certification 2023-24 to be sent to TEA.
All right, any questions? If not, you've heard the recommendation that we approve the allotment and TEAC certification. Is there a motion to that effect? Motion made by Ms. Salinas. Seconded by Mr. Morales. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Dr. Bessanice. Item D, discussion and possible action regarding the 2023-2024 board meetings calendar. This can be found on page 70 to 71. As you know, each May, we adopt a calendar for the coming year. We have stuck to the same format that we've had this year. being the first Tuesday of each month would be a workshop if it's needed, such as tonight. The third Thursday would be our official meeting of each month. There are a couple of exceptions there, and they're explained because of some holidays. But you see the calendar as it's being presented. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Mr. Ruiz, seconded by Mr. Chapa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. The board will now enter into closed session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. A, consider and deliberate regarding the 1-year renewal of probationary term, dual, and non-certified professional contracts of teachers for 2023-2024. B, discussion of status of potential real estate transactions. C, discussion with legal counsel regarding pending legal and personnel matters. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering closed session at 6:45 p.m. We now return to open session to take necessary action on matters which the board may address. Discuss an open session upon which action may be taken. We're returning to open session at 7:45 p.m. Item 9A, discussion and possible action regarding one-year renewal of probationary term, dual, and non-certified professional contract teachers for 2023 to 2024. Next.
Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the one-year renewal of the first-year probationary and second-year probationary term, dual, and non-certified professional contracts for the 2023-2024 school year for the personnel listed and as discussed in executive session.
You've heard the recommendation of administration. Is there a motion to that effect? Motion made by Ms. Salinas. Seconded by Mr. Ruiz. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. Item 9B, discussion and possible action regarding potential real estate transaction. Well, board members, I move that we authorize the administration to post the request for bid on the sale of specific real estate as prepared by legal counsel. That posting should be for at least 10 days from the original posting date. And the results of that request for bid be brought back to this board at a subsequent meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Coupal, seconded by Mr. Chop. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. There being no further business to be brought before this board, I declare the special meeting adjourned at 7:47 p.m. Board of Trustees will now conduct a workshop to discuss the following: KISD facilities assessment. Dr. Sandoval and Dr. Hicks. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper, Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Pettis. I'm going to present today the KISD facility study that was conducted in the district beginning, I think, in the fall. We got the report in late February, early March. Presentation was made to the board in March, but it was a very brief presentation. Wasn't very, it wasn't broke down in detail. Today we will cover a little more details so that we have a better understanding of what this facility study has identified. What can we take in consideration when considering when or why we're bringing this to us at this time here in early May? There was over 741 items or different areas that were addressed in this facility study. So we had to do a very thorough job of analyzing what are the biggest needs in the district. We didn't want to just bring a presentation that was very broad. We wanted to be very specific on the things that we felt are a priority for the district and that we need to focus our monies and our attention on. So let me begin by stating that this facility study was done at all 5 current campuses that are currently being housed. It was also conducted at Claiborne Elementary, Memorial, Ag Farm, the administration building, Polk, and the alternative cafeteria there at McRoberts. So all the information that was received as part of the facility study included those facilities. Okay, the facility study reviewed various components of our buildings. Begin with the foundation to the outer shell, the roofs, interiors, you know, the roof, not the roofs, the walls, your floors, your ceilings, what kind of services that are provided to our buildings, such as your HVAC, your plumbing, fire protection, electrical, all equipment and furnishings in the building. Any site work that may be advised or recommended that we look at doing to improve our facilities, and any new construction that also may benefit instruction or any other facet of what we do within our facilities. So I want to give you a quick overview of what a report that we're given. This was specific to Gillette, and it's the condition budget. We got a very good breakdown in terms of what the cost would be for the different things that were assessed as part of this study. And, you know, the initial figure that we got for each thing that was analyzed was a physical condition budget subtotal. So if there was a repair that needed to be made, such as a roof at Gillette, your base cost might have been, you know, $250,000. But there's other factors that are included as part of that, that sub budget or subtotal. Before we can get a final total, these numbers had additional fees added to it, which was the budget development cost, which could be anything such as architectural fees, engineering fees, testing fees, to test soil, to test, you know, materials, permits, any legal representation that you may need, or any overhead costs that are attributed to any construction that is being conducted at any facility or any site. When factoring out the cost of what it was from physical condition budget to the budget development cost, it was a 30% increase to the of the physical condition budget. So when we looked at the total cost for the physical condition budget, again, that was an added cost of 38%, and then we'd have our total. So based off those totals, then we would look at what was it going to cost based on escalation, and we went to 2023, 2024, 2025, and so on and so forth. If we prolong any of our projects, we know there's going to be added increase to that projected cost of repairs. So I'm going to give you an additional breakdown of what that looks like, because it wasn't in there. We had to figure out the totals, and I want to make sure I can get that to you today. So from the physical condition budget total to the cost for, with escalation 2023, we saw a 60% increase in that budget. So going from physical condition budget to the budget development cost to then the physical condition budget total. On top of that, we had a 60% increase in the year 2023. Again, these are all projections, guys. They're not specific numbers. They're not true estimates that we received from any contractor out there. These are just the TASB numbers that were provided to us based on the figures that they had. So none of this is set in stone, because some of the numbers can actually be higher, but they can also be lower as well. So if we decided to move our projects like at Gillette right now, we'd be looking at about $8.7 million to do all the recommended improvements to that campus at this time. And that's to get the building back up to, you know, where it's as if it was new. So keep that in mind as we go through the different numbers and projections for the upcoming years. So if we postpone these projects at Gillette to 2024, you will see an increase of 4%. And that'll bump it up to $9 million, $9,076,000. If we wait to 2025, you'll get 9.4 million. And if so, a total replacement budget for Gillette is right at $54 million for that whole facility. So I want to go over facility condition index. So that is the expected cost to replace or repair the facility divided by the replacement value. So Gillette currently is at $54 million to replace it. We're looking at a cost, if we look at the 2023 cost to repair at $8.7 million, you're looking at a 15.98% facility condition index. So if you're at 100% facility index condition index, then you're basically saying it's going to cost you the same amount of money to repair it than it would be to replace the building in itself. So at Gillette right now, being a 15-year-old facility, the repairs that are being recommended are about 50% of its total replacement budget. So we're still at a good percentage for Gillette, considering it's a 15-year-old building. We're looking at 60% replacement value at this point. Any questions in regards to what we've covered?
Yeah, without getting down into the too nitty gritty, what makes up that $8 million?
We'll cover that a little bit more. Mr. Cooper, but it is a lot of it's roofs.
Okay.
Roofs a big chunk and HVAC system, but we'll cover that in a little more detail. You'll see where the big chunk of that money's coming from.
Right.
So I wanted to give you the big picture before we start diving into some of the smaller pieces of information, you know, by campus or by specific subject of what we're covering or construction. So when you look at, here's the whole KISD from HMG all the way to the alternative cafeteria there at Maple Roberts. So our physical condition budget for the whole district is at $45 million to make upgrades and repairs to our current facility. Keep in mind, some of this is roofs, some of this is HVAC units, which are very expensive. But some of this is also, putting cement blocks underneath our drainage system to make sure we push the water away from the foundation. Some of it's also repainting and freshening up our doors and our trim, sealing some of our windows, cleaning our gutters. So not all of these things are big ticket items, but they're also, these little small things do add up. Some of these smaller items that are being recommended to be repaired or replaced or repaired are things that we can do in-house. Not everything's got to be contracted out or where we need to spend millions of dollars. So I want you to keep that in mind. So going back, total budget right now is physical condition budget is $45 million. When you factor in the additional cost for architectural fees, or you look at legal fees, engineering fees, that could bump up, and then you look at the cost for 60% escalation 2023, we'd be looking at $53 million for the district, 53.3 million. The physical condition budget or the FTI for the district is currently at 7.52. So when you look at the whole 709 million replacement budget for all the facilities here in the district, we're at 7.52%. That's a pretty good number. Very low relative to what repairs need to be made district-wide. And what helps those numbers, high school, Gillette, and Harvey are relatively new buildings. And they really offset the number from maybe Harold, Bettis Elementary, Toll, which are some of our older aging buildings as well. So what do we prioritize and how do we prioritize this list, determine what do we need to focus our attention on? So we looked at 4 different things as a department. Maintaining service life of our facility, comfort, safety and security, and the remaining life of our facility. We don't want to put too much money and replace the HVAC unit at a building that might be considered for replacement in 5 to 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. So that needs to be taken into consideration before we decide, hey, let's throw a lot of money in that direction. So first we want to cover is maintain the life of the facility. So I'm going to tell you my biggest concern, as a district employee, as a district, I live in the district, taxes go to the district. I want to make sure our facilities are maintained in the sense that the roof issues that we have are repaired, because roof issues cause more problems in terms of what is replaced inside if it gets wet and damaged. So I really believe one of the priorities that we need to focus on as a district is roof repairs. So let's look at what we prioritize based on the report, what we should consider as repairs for 2023. At HMK and the CTE, fine arts, and athletic, old athletic areas, we're all kind of condensed into one area. So this first column or row is referring to the CTE building in the back that has the AV. It used to be the OCTE. It also has automotive tech. It's got the tennis room. So we have 3 different buildings there. The building that we have on the north side that goes from east to west is the one that has the most damage in that building. And the cost that we're looking at here is 1.6 million to replace all 3 roofs, but we really think we'll need to replace one of those roofs at this time. The other 2 are pretty good shape.
That north one, that's the one that the athletics went into.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct, Mr. Kufal. And currently
It's not really being used for anything.
it's not being used. At one point, we were using it as a sheet rate for JRTC. But once we started getting issues with the rain, we had to pull out of there. We're no longer using it. But once we get it up and running, we could repurpose it for a shooting range for the JRTC again. And we can also get some of those other classrooms up and running again to use it for maybe auto body classrooms, things of that sort.
And that looks, we looked at that as being less expensive than demolishing it and putting it in the ground. Don't-
That is correct, Dr. Best. You have to look at, currently, for those three buildings, we have our electrical panel in there. So in order to tear that down, you're gonna have to find a different place for the electrical panel that serves those other two buildings. That is also gonna cost a lot of money for rewiring. That'll probably cost as much as it would to replace it, right? So we definitely need to look at preserving that building because it can still serve the district in many ways. So again, that number at 1.6 or 1.9 million, we think that number is a little high. And we believe only need about a third of that cost to actually get that roof up and running, or that building up and running. The second part of that roof summary, we're looking at just cleaning gutters. And we need to analyze specifically what that area looks like because the dome gutters are at an extensive height, 2 stories. And we need to determine whether we in our in-house can do it and without getting anybody, injured. That's something we need to definitely look into.
How those, like that second one, the domes. If they're FEMA domes, does anyone help us with the cost of repairs? Or is it KISD property?
As far as I know, there's no any assistance in terms of repairing that.
Not even the county or whenever.
You have to see that what happened when we built those, it was just the dome. And then we added the auxiliary around because that has the weight rooms and all of that. And it's just supposed to be just the dome and all of those buildings. And I think that's where all the gutters are, is in all of the stuff around it because we had to pay separately for that than just the actual.
FEMA domes, they just somebody can help.
That's pretty much all the rest of the in-house repairs and maintenance to those buildings.
I have a question, follow up with the Domus question. Any grants out there to help since it is a FEMA dome? I was wondering, any government?
That's a good question. So I think definitely can look into that, but because it does serve not just as a school, but also an emergency situation. So we definitely can look into that.
We're also checking about warranty on the domes as well.
Yes. Memorial Middle School, even though we are not currently using the building, other than the gym, the cafeteria, it's still a district property that we want to maintain. We spoke to one of our vendors, Garland, today regarding Memorial Middle School, and he did give us a little bit more insight to what that repairs would need, and talked about what we'd be doing around the perimeter of that facility and what projected costs. They are going to give us a more in-depth cost analysis on making some repairs to that facility, because we're looking at about 76 is what was budgeted here. We might be looking at about about 140,000 to make those repairs at Memorial, but Memorial has some water when it does rain right around the edges of the building, the exterior of the building. But correct, it's
Put them together, but there's some windows too, and I can go point them out for you.
So, we have a lot of water coming through on that east wing, right on that wall. And we definitely need to repair before it causes more damage to our walls, our ceilings, and to our floors, which, yeah.
So we're only using the gym right now, right?
Currently, yes, we are using the gym.
We're also using the cafeteria as far as storing our books, and we're also using the east and the west wing to store maintenance equipment.
So what are you talking?
They're all books or anything.
Correct, everything's been moved out of there, and it's been taken off our list of insured properties.
So that's a good question, Ms. Alena, because again, that cafeteria was added in this study. So the things that are being recommended for McRoberts, such as the roof, HVAC, we as a district can make a decision. We really don't want to put our monies there because we're currently not using that facility and we may never need that facility again. So something to take into consideration when making a decision on what we'll move forward with. So,
But in the KISD facility details, you said for Memorial, we're looking at about
17,000.
5,779,000. The cost for 2023.
For roofs right now for Memorial, we're looking at right around 75,000, according to the facility study provided to us by KISD. We think that might be a little bit more, but we won't know specifically till we get that breakdown from.
So what's this number up here, the KISD facility, just a few slides back, I think. You had one that said, cost for 2023, what's that number?
Is that the KISD facility details?
Yes, sir,
The 53,000 or 53 million was that everything that's being recommended by TASB was brought up to standards and what it,
So for Memorial, that's what Tasby said, it was like 5 million to
everything for what they're recommending for Memorial, that's gonna include roofing, HVAC.
HVAC and all that.
Yes.
Lovely.
What do we have 53,000 every one, so that we can.
53 million, 53,000 we need.
We're gonna talk a little bit about funding as soon as the presentation.
So, yeah, just keep in mind, you guys, what I'm presenting you is the facility study and what we are trying and what we can possibly do in 2022 and 23, 24, 25, and 26, 27, moving on. And then Dr. Pitts will present the numbers on what he thinks we can work with this upcoming school year, and then we'll get some feedback from you guys on what direction you want to go regarding the facility. So right now for roofing needs, if you count everything that these 4 projects here, we'd be looking at about $2 million. But again, we're estimating about 1/3, 2/3 of what's being proposed for the CT building is not going to be needed. That's about almost $2 million itself. So we really think that number is going to be a lot less in terms of the roof that need to be done in the 2023-24 school year and to get up to where we need to be. So let's look at year 2 and 3, what we recommend on roof summaries. So Gillette Middle School is looking about 5 years. It's an 18-year-old building, 19-year-old building. I think it was built in 2004 or 5. So, you know, we're getting close to the lifespan of that roof. We met again with the roofing contractor today. I think Gillette's on the same radar as where TASB put it, you know, about a 2 to 3 year range. So what we've asked is for a breakdown on how we can phase it out in maybe 3 different phases, so that we as a district can fund it and not have to go out for any kind of, you know, of any kind of bond which we're currently unavailable for, but any other kind of assistance that might be available for us out there to make these repairs, because what we're seeing for the whole repair is right around $4 million for Gillette. And that's a big chunk of change in any one given year. So he's gonna look at breakdown and see how we can break it down into maybe 3 chunks.
That's a question. On the bitumen roofs, I don't know a roof, I mean, I really don't know the types of roofs, but is this the most expensive roof? Can we change it to tar, or can we change it to any other?
This is probably the most common roof that you use right now for your flat roofs. The tar roofs are pretty much they're antiquated, they don't use that anymore. The bitumen, the modified it's cheaper to apply, and it's also cheaper to replace when they need to be replaced. And it's also cheaper to patch. You can find where there's breaches in the roof easier than you can on a tar roof that we've used in previous years. We do have a variation of the metal roofs, the modified bitumen roof, we have tar roofs, we have a variation of all different types. But when we do roof repairs, typically we get rid of the tar roof and we do a bitumen roof.
So that it is affordable then.
It's more affordable than tar. And our consultation today with Garland, when it comes time to do the roof here at administration, which is complete gravel, it's more costly to replace that. And also when you're pulling it up, you're also causing damage to some of the roof. And then it needs to be repaired moving forward before we can see it again.
Thank you.
So what we found out, according to the study, in year 2, 3, again, I think we can start phasing and planning what we're gonna do with our roof, because again, Gillette's $4 million, and that number just continues to increase if we wait 5 years or 6 years or possibly 7 years. Clayburg Elementary, according to TASB, it is one of those roofs that's less than 5 years left of life expectancy. But according to Garland, they said that roof's in better shape than we anticipated. Out of a scale from 1 to 10, I think they rated it as an 8. So that was good news to hear, because do we really want to put a lot of money to labor right now? So hearing that was music to our ears, and that's one of the things we probably need to focus on at this time. So, so looking at summary of 24-25, we probably need to start projecting and thinking about what that looks like, moving forward. So in 4 to 5 years, administration building, there's a variation of the modified bitumen and gravel. And we're looking at 1.8 million, and we waited to do that to 2027. That's 5 years from now. We according to the study, we're talking about 5 years left on this roof. According to Garland, they project maybe, they give, I think, a 2 out of 10 here. It was low,
Yes.
it was high priority, but I think it was 2 out of 10. So they what's saving this roof, according to Blake from Garland, he says, it's an old tar and gravel roof. And what happens with the sun baking that thing, that it sometimes it fills with the host, but he said it's pretty beat up, like the granule, the gravel is already, it's embedded into that tar. He goes, it's pretty bad. The one thing that's saving this roof here is that's one of the older buildings. And he goes, I think you got a cement roof, which is covered by the gravel and tar, which is saving you at this time. He goes, but you don't have a whole lot left in that roof, but fortunately right now it's serving this purpose. But he also gives a further analysis on what we can do here at administration in terms of repairing that roof. But it's very possible that we might have to move that one in to that 2 to 3 year range of a possible repair for roofs in the district. So roof summary, repairs, and these are the ones we're recommending that we look at repairs if needed. Again, this is based on the TASB study. Pettis Elementary, we're looking at about $100,000 roof repair. Harold Elementary, 1.3. Let me go back. Pettis Elementary, $1 million. Harold, you're looking at 1.3, and that's what we did it in 5 years. The alternative campus, which again, this is based on the study, I don't think we need to proceed with this, is 230,000. And Polk Options Alternative Academy, you're looking at about 125,000, and if we did that in 5 years. One thing we need to take consideration for Polk is if the district's at any point considering, do anything with that property there, attached to Lamar, or do we want to continue to maintain that facility because it's still a district property that if we sell it at some point, we still want to be able to maintain that value of what that property is with a efficient or route that is of service to the building. So.
Well, and we had talked about that, and we were just kind of worried about putting the VAEP kids there at the Head Start.
We definitely discussed it, but that came down. I haven't walked that building since I left it in 99.
How bad that is.
Yeah.
Y'all walked into the McRobert?
I've walked into McRoberts in the last year or so. It's not usable. The only building that is usable is that cafeteria. And that wasn't, to be honest, that wasn't that bad. The main thing is it didn't pass inspection because of all the other buildings around that weren't deemed safe. And we would have to invest more money to bring them up to code, to fire code, because they wouldn't just approve that one building be up to code. All the buildings had to be up to code, and it wouldn't be worth it for us to do that. So that's when we moved all of the books that were there in that one building all the way to the memorial cafeteria.
Okay, so say for instance, you were to move DAP to Clayburg, and I know that little kids are an issue. But is it cost effective to maintain the building, the public building, or move the Head Start out? Like, would we save any money by moving them in there and moving the kids out, or we compare the prices of that?
Well, we would save money on electricity and on depending on whether we want to repair that roof. If we don't have to repair that roof, we would definitely save money there as well.
Like, are we making money out of Head Start, or is it
it's saving us.
Breaking even, it's basically covering, they're paying their utilities, they're paying the cost of the custodian there, they're paying the cost of the insurance in the building. So basically, we're breaking even right now. But if we own that building and they weren't there, then we'd be paying all those costs.
But how does that compare with the cost of the code?
Yeah, we've got,
But it's different.
better if we found someplace to move it.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
We looked at the portables, we thought about doing the portables, putting a fence between it, paper. You know, we are looking at, we're brainstorming. But I know a lot of money was put into code, I think, when they created that center.
I think one thing to consider is if the board is looking at eventually selling Lamar. The question is, are we gonna sell that whole block that's connected above there? And then if you go that route, then it doesn't really make sense to fix that roof. But if we're gonna hold on to the property and do something with that building, it does make sense to fix it.
The good thing about Poe is not,
It's a standalone.
it's standalone, but it's also, it's not in dire need right now. It will need a roof eventually, but it's not leaking on us as we know, as we speak right now. It's not a priority right now. It's something we can do down the road. But I think as the district decides how we move forward with that property, that lot, I think will determine what we do with that roof, whether we need to make repairs or not. So something to keep in mind as well for Bettis and Harold, those campuses were built in the sixties. They're pretty close to the end of their lifespan. At some point when the district is available to go out for bond, those may be buildings that may be considered for replacement. So whether we want to consider Pettis or Harold for a complete roof review roof might be something we would have to put on the back burner. Maybe we can do a partial restoration that we were told about today, that you can give about another 10 to 12 years on that life expectancy of the roof, which would be a fraction of the cost versus the replacement. So it's something we definitely need to consider so that we can extend the life of those buildings until we're able to consider going out for bond for those two buildings or campuses. So next item that we looked at as part of our study was comfort. Living in South Texas, we know that August, September, October months look like in April and May. We definitely know that we need HVAC systems and heating systems sometimes during those following days. So we want to make sure that we took that into consideration when making determinations on what our needs were. So we had to look at HVAC summaries. Quite a bit of HVAC recommendation being made. One of the things that we're thinking about is we need to be proactive on how we address and maintain our HVAC units. I'm of the mindset that, you drive it till it dies, right? But it's a good concept, but we also need to be ready when it does die. Do we have the money available for it? We need to make sure that we have the funds there. So according to our study, Gillette and Claver were the ones that were identified as the ones in most need of HVAC units. Again, Gillette's about 18, 19 years old already. And those units are 69 units, package units there at Gillette by itself. So you're looking at, if we were replacing all 69 units at Gillette, we'd be looking at $2.7 million. Again, these are just projections based on the TASB study. We could go out for bid and possibly get better numbers, but do we really want to consider replacing all units at once that are currently working? Or do you want to phase in a replacement plan where we replace a few, maybe 10 to 12 units a year to over a course of 8 years where we replace all our units? So that's something we need to take into consideration. Claver, if we replace their units that are out currently right now, I think about a third to a little bit more were in need of a replacement. So you're looking at about 732,000. Bettis Elementary has a few that need to be replaced. You're looking at 260. Administration building, you're looking at 477,000, and the alternative campus there at McRoberts, 104,000. Those we will not be considered to replace at this time. That are near their lifespan in terms of
They're still
they're still working. So I'll go over what we would recommend that we do. Here you'll find the HVAC summary. And what we're recommending, let me go back to here, you see a $4.3 million replacement for those units at Gillette, Clayburgh, Bettis, and the administration building. So if we broke that down over an 8-year span, we're still looking at that $4.3 million, but by escalating it to 2024 and all the way to 2030, then we'd be looking, if we do a 4% increase each year for those units that have not been replaced, we'd be looking at about 4.9 million. And that would allow us to replace all those units that have been identified in Gillette and those campuses that we talked about. But do we need to replace all those units right now? We don't. So my recommendation would be, let's look at considering budgeting the amount for HVAC units, so that in the event that we start replacing some, we hold on to wait till the others actually give out on us, because we should ride those till they die. I mean, or to the point where they're no longer energy efficient, or they're a danger to the facility if we have motors that are, the bearings are going out and it's creating a lot of friction and it could cause a fire. We need to make sure we're being, safe on our end still, but let's not replace them till they're at the end of their lifespan.
I agree with that 100%. The only fly in the ointment that you run into there is if you have an administration change. And we had that in the past, and we've had previous boards that have gone through and say, oh, we're going to take this money that we earmarked for this, and we're going to push it over here. And that's what did away with a bunch of our ongoing maintenance type deals. So I'm 100% in favor of this. We just got to stick to it with fidelity in terms of the board and the administration saying we're not using that rainy day fund for anything other than what it's designated for.
On these units, when they're replaced, I know there's a warranty that's with them for so long. Is there one you can purchase? As far as these units, because in the past, we bought them and not paid extra for the warranty.
Yeah.
And the day after, in 12 months, they blow up.
Right, because normally when we purchase it, most of them come with like a year warranty.
Right.
But you can purchase an extended warranty too, and that's something that we need to look at and weigh the cost of the warranty and when we are purchasing them.
But they always find a way, though. They always find a way to pay.
Yeah. Is it a bumper to bumper?
Oh, this particular element. Especially with HVAC, our maintenance guys can go in there, change filters, do all this stuff. And they come back, oh, it's burned out because like changing the filter.
And I think
So they always find a way to get there.
The other thing that we're going to have to be very diligent about watching is that, there's federal pressure right now to, go after gas stoves and this air conditioners are next. There's no telling what kind of federal regulations may be come about in the next couple of years to make everything a little greener and all. And should that start happening, we're going to all have to jump up and down and scream and say, okay, but this is what they're going to do to hospitals, and this is what they're going to do to school districts and to these other people. And so they're going to come down with these kind of regulations, and somebody's going to have to come in the back door with some money to help meet those kind of standards also.
Something also to take into consideration when considering our HVAC replacement is if we move in the direction of having replaced our roofs, it might be in the best interest of the district to maybe do that simultaneously. Because if we have to do a retrofit to our curves, you want to do it while you're replacing the roof as well, because it will add additional cost to our replacement or repairs. So we definitely need to take that into consideration as we're moving forward with those repairs.
So you're saying that we look at our units, the ones that do need to be replaced, fix those. Let's look at Gillette. Not replace the whole HVAC system, but just those as needed. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and one of the things that I'm recommending we do is that we replace a few units, the worst ones there at Gillette at this time. And then we use those as like a replacement part. We kind of like a junkyard. Whenever we have units that are similar to that, there's an element that's gone out or a blower or a motor, we could definitely use those parts and save the cost of having to go buy a new compressor for a unit that's about to go out maybe a year or two. So we definitely need to be proactive and manage and better use the equipment that we take off and use it for parts that.
Same thing with plating, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely. We need to do a better job of using that instead of having to buy new parts. And while we're, especially while we're in the process of replacing many units, I think that's something we need to definitely look into. So let's move on to the next item on the agenda, safety and security. Now, again, this is, and they're in no particular order in terms of what's most important, but safety support, safety and security is one thing that we have to look at. So in 2023, again, these are all based off that have been studied. We want to make sure that all the buildings have access controls. Right now, all our buildings have access control. I'm gonna go back. H.M. King has access control to get into the building, so does Harvey Elementary. We want to make sure the other buildings have that as well in terms of being able to go in there and have access with the swipe cards that we have to be able to get to the buildings. It's just a more efficient way of doing it and providing safety for our students and our staff. Also in dire need of repair is our parking lots and driveways there at H.M. King. Anyone that's driven back there for any event or activity,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty bad. So we definitely, it's one of those things that are priority list that we need to be considering for repair. Estimations are at 1 million for the asphalt. I think we get it cheaper than that. But again, this is factoring that extra 30% plus the 60%. I mean, that's quite a bit of additional monies to this projection, but we definitely go out for bid, you know, see what the best qualifications and quotes that come in and consider replacing it. One thing that we've discussed, you know, Dr. Pettis and I have been in conversation with this, with Dr. Pitts, right there in the back, right between the tennis courts and the CT building, that area may have to be cemented.
Yeah.
Just because that is a highly trafficked area, and it will continue to have the same issues that we currently have, where potholes are currently being, so we're going to consider that as part of our bid when we go out for a bid, we go into this project. The other thing that we need to provide is, we're looking at that track at the high school. The track's in pretty bad shape. Anyone that's gone out there and you know, got to walk it or go to, you know, track practice, we've got over 100 kids practicing there a day during track season. And you're basically running on the street. It's what they're like. It's one of those, I think we need to put a high indication on that. We need to look at this because again, that is student safety with Salinas, and with as many kids running on that, and with the cracks that we have in that surface, we definitely look at that.
There's no way to go, and even if I had a young, in summer track starting, summer sports, we're either gonna fix it or close it down, because honestly, I would hate for a child to really get hurt out there. Now then, we're probably gonna pay more than $250,000 if we were to get sued on a real bad accident.
You're correct. I think there's a lot of concern with that track, but I think one of the things that we consider, not just the safety aspect, but I think we get it replaced and repaired or replaced and fixed. It definitely would bring a much needed improvement to that campus, and on the athletic side. Because we as a district and those of you that went to HMK know that that's the same track we have when we're in school. It doesn't change anything.
And you know what else? I think if we were to not just fix that, but maybe even like fix the bleachers, we could probably generate money and rent it out to schools.
It's definitely something that we can consider.
So that might be a money maker too, and it might be a pro for all, you know, pay for itself.
If we get that track going, Ms. Salinas, I think that'd be the first step in moving toward that direction. Because I think the next thing would maybe lights. We would need lights to utilize that facility. And then we could look at upgrading facilities in terms of bleachers, getting exterior bathrooms, and then that could be an actual.
We looked at that turf grass.
It could definitely be something we can also. But I think the track would be the first step because of safety, and then we as a district can look at what we could do moving forward to bring that facility up to standards.
Do you know if our, sorry, do you know if our contract with university allows us putting this towards the track there? And it is important, don't get me wrong. But in the meantime, we've got these other expenses. Does the contract we have with the university for football season allow us to use the track during track season? Just a question.
Coach Duggan?
So we're allowed to use it whenever we can, whenever we want to, but the track team at the university is using it, SGA is using it. So we would have to work around them. They have first dibs at it during.
We're third in line.
Yeah, we're third in line. I mean, realistically, that's
What it is, we're third in
Yeah.
line.
SGA goes from, I think, from like 4 to 5, the university goes from like 5 to 6:30, so we're talking about holding kids, busting them over there, getting there at 6:30, and then.
You're right.
It's
You're right, Joe. Sports complex. It's
Sports complex.
AD Sports Complex.
I'm all for it.
And the track there, you're right, like, it's not a lot, it was there, but we were there, but we twisted an ankle, that's what got our ankles stronger.
Broke it so many times.
Exactly. I'm sorry. So, the other thing that we're also looking at, identified in this study was the tennis courts there at the high school above. We have a lot of visible cracks, and those tennis courts are used, I mean, throughout the year. It's not just a 3-month season, it's a 12-month season. And in addition to that, we do host a lot of events. So it's something that we definitely need to consider to come renovate and one of our number of parties for the district. And then going back to, again, the access controls, we will make sure every campus has access controls to ensure an accessibility. So 2024-25 school year, the next year 2 and 3, we can, again, this be recommended, we can look at making sure that our interior and exterior cameras are up to date at all facilities. Gillette will need some paving of their asphalt. Most of the asphalt's pretty good, but there's an area that just, it feels like you're riding a wave. And we definitely need to look at that. And I don't know if there was a drainage system there at some point when we went over that and paved that area, but it be repaired in the upcoming year. And we would look at that maybe year 2 or 3. And again, the rest are interior and exterior cameras. We're looking at about, if we waited 2-3 years to get that done, we would look at about $1.2 million for those repairs. But again, not all that has to be done. It's just things that we need to consider as part of the study. And in year 2026, 27, or 4 years, 5 years from this point, Harold would be recommended to have perimeter lighting, Harold paving and receiving of their asphalt. Bettis is also doing the same lighting and asphalt. Administration building, lighting, asphalt, and perimeter lighting, and the cameras around the building as well for interior and exterior. But again, that's at $375,000, and that's projected out 5 years. That's at a very low cost for some of those things that we might be able to tackle in year 4 or 5. So if we did, now let's go, I wanted to look at the big picture now. And this is kind of broken down by the 3 areas that we covered. And if we did all the things that we just covered in 2023, all the things we covered in 2024 and so on, here's a breakdown of what it costs the district. Again, some of these numbers are probably high. Because it's factoring everything, under the sun, and engineering fees, legal fees, and projections, and some of this may not even be needed. So for all repairs that are being recommended at this point, you've been looking at $4.6 million in the year 2023. Again, I think $1.6 million of this on just the roof at the high school is overestimated. So you take out that 1.6, you'd be looking at about $3 million for 2023. 2024, you're looking at about 3.9. And that's including all the roof at Gillette, and that's including HVACs that you have at Gillette. 2025, you're looking at about 3.9 million, almost 4 million. 2026, you're looking at 1.7. 2028, you look at 658,000. 2029, you'd be looking at 684,000. In 2030, you look at 712,000. Again, and all these projections are factored in that 4% increase every year. So you can see what the district would be paying. And the district picked up all these
part-time budget item that we're discussing right now, you'd be looking at about $18 million over the course of 8 years. Which over 8 years divided by 3, Peter, you do the math, 2.1 million, 2.4 million, 2.3.
Divided by.
8.
Oh.
2.6.
If you average it,
There's a calculator.
2.25 million.
2.25 million, which makes it a little more doable. But again, not everything here is required. A lot of stuff that we do that wasn't part of this prior type budget, we can do in-house. We can definitely use our budget that we put aside yearly to do some of those in-house repairs that we've already identified and know that need to be done here in the district.
So with that said, for 2023, which is school year 23-24, and for next school year, yes, the total is 4.6 million, but you said at least 1 million, one something from the high school would be needed.
I think we can knock about 1.6 off of that roof that we're projected at 1.9. And but
So
again,
based on that,
we'd be looking at about 3 million.
so are we gonna decide?
Go to the next page.
Yeah. So let's look at the recommendation.
Before we do this,
We gotta talk about that too.
so before we do the questions, let's talk about funding
Well,
from.
so let's look at, what are some higher priority that we're recommending that these are things that we probably need to focus on here as a district. Repairing the leaky roofs at H and King CT building. Again, it's at 2 million, but we don't believe that number is a true projection based on the information we had today with Garland and more repairs that need to happen there as well. So all campuses, make sure we have those access controls. Gillette Middle School and Claybrook Elementary, replacing HVAC. And again, this is phasing out the HVAC at $539,000 that first year. H and King High School doing the asphalt parking lot, and we're looking at 1.2, but again, we believe we get that done a lot cheaper. It would be at a $700,000 to $800,000 range. H and King practice field or the track, we're looking at 400,000. We think that might be a little low. I gotta be honest, we think that's a little lower than projected. Yeah, so that's again, that's based on the study. And the tennis courts, we're looking at 128,000. We believe that's high. Based on some of the numbers we looked at, we think we're right around 70 or 80,000. So that's a little higher than we anticipate to do those repairs. So if you factored all those, we'll be looking at about 4.5 million for just these repairs at this time. But again, that roof at the CT building, we know we're a lot higher than we are actually in this figure here.
That we're a lot higher.
It's a lot, the numbers are a lot higher. We
This
think we'll be
number's
like
higher.
3 million.
So
Yeah, we think about 3 million miscellaneous.
that would be doable. We've got a healthy fund balance.
So this is where Dr. Pitts comes into. I want to present the information, where we think we're at and what we think we need to do. Dr. Pitts can talk a little more about what's available and what projections you think we have as a district. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Sandoval. So let me start with Ms. Salinas' question. Do we have $53 million just laying around that we can use to make everything brand new? And of course, the answer to that is no. Our fund balance is around $12.6 million. That is healthy. We need to probably stay above 9 million, and I wouldn't even recommend us getting that close to 9 million for a couple of reasons. One, we have the ESSER cliff coming up next year, and we need to leave a buffer. That has many school districts scared to death. Not only that, but also the legislature is going through their negotiation process right now. Every 2 years, they come up with not only new formulas to fund education, but they also come up with new unfunded mandates for education to do. And one of them, called House Bill 100, we're really looking at, and all districts are very scared about it right now. They're talking about dramatically changing the minimum salary schedule. So that would be one that there's some funding toward, but not nearly enough toward. Other possible mandates are increased security, and safety, and the amount of money that they're putting toward that they're giving toward schools doesn't even begin to cover it.
For safety, and also I was at a conference last week and they were talking of even an ESSER 4.
Wow, I would love that. Just to let you know where they are right now, the House and the Senate, they have their own budgets that have been passed. Now they're in the negotiation process, and just between the two of them, like I calculated, one of them for safety, according to one budget, we would get $27,000. And another one, we get almost $300,000. So right now, and same thing with special education, same thing with property values. There's one of the budgets that will every year we lose close to $1 million because the county and the state have different valuations. So one of the bills would fix that. Of course, the other one is saying, no, we don't want to put more money into that as well. So right now, if it was last year, we could be a little bit further along in the budget process because there wouldn't be all these negotiations because they do it for 2 years. So right now, we are in a waiting game for the next month. We will know a lot more once the legislature not only passes how much money we're going to receive, but also passes what we're going to be required to do. So what do we know right now? But before I go into what we do know, let's talk about those $53 million and these $4.5 million for next year, close to $3 million for next year. So the facilities are taken globally as part of all of our needs. The highest priority we have is to educate our students in a safe manner. And so when we look at this in a global, we don't want to put all our money into making our buildings shiny brand new, and at the same time, making it so that we can't pay our teachers, making it so that we can't buy instructional resources, and making it so that we can't buy any devices for our students. All of those things have to be put together, and as we put the budget together, we will be bringing you a budget that not only includes all the facilities and what we think we can afford for the next year, but also all of those other needs as well. So what do we know right now? What we do know is that we have $1.8 million that have been designated for high school repairs. That's what we do know. And those monies can be used for repairs of other facilities if the original intent is fulfilled first. So we definitely know that we have those $1.8 million. We know that we have a fund balance that is healthy. Again, we are looking at that fund balance and looking at all the other needs of the district besides just facilities as well too. And in the next month, we will have not only a better idea of where we stand with all the legislation that's coming through and all the mandates, but also we will have, by June, we will also have the TASB salary study as well that we will be bringing to you, where that study takes our salaries and compares it to the salaries of other comparable districts with similar demographics, and to make sure that we are competitive with other school districts. So then once we got a month to get all of the legislation that basically will tell us what we have to pay for and also how much money we'll receive. Then we'll be bringing the salaries in. Then we'll be bringing the facilities and all our other needs in July so that we can get a budget passed in August.
Salaries, there's other grant funds that you get, like you use state for salaries, federal funds for salaries, Title I, whatever. So it's not just fund balance.
No, you're right. It's not just a general fund. Because right now we have salaries that are paid not only out of those, but we have salaries out of ESSER as well too, which is going to dry up, and all of those salaries will go back into the general fund. But you're right. When we look at it, we look at all our funding sources. The board approves 3 specific funds. The board approves the general fund, the board approves our debt service fund, and the board also approves the food service fund. But we have many other different grants. And we're self-funded, so we actually have like fund balances for things like workers' comp and for health insurance as well too. So we'll be looking at all of those things globally when we're putting together the budget for this year and when we're going through these budget workshops.
So like the energy study on salaries, is that gonna be district wide?
Absolutely, it'll be every single business teacher,
Every category.
every employee, yes.
Dr. Pitts,
Yes, sir.
we always have a projection every year of our budget. But usually we come below that. I think we've seen that, right? We projected this much. But at the end of the year, we've shown to be, as a district, very frugal.
Managing with it, yes.
You're absolutely right, because our philosophy is to budget conservatively. Well, the worst thing we want to do is at the end of the year end up that we have a deficit budget or that. So we try to be conservative, and yes, we build in a buffer whenever we have a budget. We have money allocated by function, and in each function, we have a buffer, usually of 3 to 5%, just to make sure. Now, sometimes it's completely blown up. Let me give you an example that was completely blown up this year. Property insurance. So I put in there a 15% buffer in property insurance, and we ended up going 40% over, and nobody expected that whatsoever. So it usually works, but sometimes things go crazy, and things are unpredictable. Yes, we are looking at ways to save. So, and we have identified several positions that through attrition, we're going to be able to absorb next year, and that's going to help us as well.
Yeah, and while we're doing that, though, we're gonna look, we need to make sure we're not gonna sacrifice anything. So we're trying to use the same methodology of planning, just the way we have the past 2 years that have worked. But now this legislative session is just, it's like no other. And, you hear the good, but you don't hear how it's funded. It sounds good, but that's because the Senate and the House, they're each trying to sell their bill. So.
Dr. Pitts, so you talk about next month having an idea with the legislation on, what type of funding that you're gonna have. What if the legislators decide to go into special session? Will they still provide this information next month for school districts, or would that extend we're not sure what our funding is going to look like?
Well, yeah, you're right. We have a deadline to adopt a budget by August the 31st. So we will go with as much information as we have. And we're not the only school district that's worried about this.
Mr. Kupal has been very good about staying in tune also with Dr. Pitts, very closely in communication about all this as well as happening in the Capitol.
I do feel like going to the Capitol did make a difference, because it seems like that's a high priority to get the property values aligned, and to not have the school districts be the one that pays the penalty when they're not aligned. But we'll see if it passes.
If that comes about, every school district in South Texas owns any house of time, big time. Superintendent from Orange Grove has really been working very, very hard with Lozano and Mantilla, and we got them to understand kind of what was happening. It's coming together, we hope.
Now, I know we rely on TASB a lot for the surrounding areas. I think that's good to have. Let's do it. Let's get our facilities up to par. I mean, we gotta spend that. We gotta make sure no roofs are leaking. And we got air conditioning, heating, and then we look at those tracks, those expenses that you projected that we see as priority. I think we need to do that. So that way, you go to every school around us, they've got a nice track. At least they have a nice track. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I'm all for that. So that's.
And then also you talk about the tennis courts, that's a successful program that continues success year after year. So if you don't give them a little love, it's like, what's the point? Why do we work hard? Why do we Something that I just think we need to
Which
make
one?
the repair, the tennis court. Yeah, in that area as well. There's needs there all the tournaments, yeah.
This has been very helpful.
Yeah, very thorough. Good job, very good job.
Well, Dr. Sandoval again, worked with Coach Davila and myself, but he was a big driver in this. I kind of, I'm very happy to be handing off facilities, and getting that out of my purview, but a great job was done in taking that $53 million and kind of whittling it down to all these top priorities right here. And kind of putting a long-term plan of what needs to be done in the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you.
Instead of finding 53 million, one more.
We need a low hanging fruit.
Anything else anybody has in regard to workshop?
You want to go to
I guess when are we gonna decide what we're gonna start with, or it's gonna be whenever?
No, it'll be in the budget,
Later on,
Yeah.
the August budget,
during our budget process.
On the budget worksheet.
or because summer drops.
Okay, so
But it's
it's a long,
Do it until start
Give it up.
the next phase.
all of these huge projects, it's a process. A lot of times they say, sometimes some of these are 1, 2, 3 years out, depending on what the project is, because you develop the specifications, you get bids, and then once you get bids, you evaluate them, you bring them to the board, then they have to order all the materials, which, because the supply chain is taking longer and longer right now, and then after that, then they build it in phases. So this is a long-term process that we just need to be patient and stay the course. It's not going to happen overnight.
Coach Garcia, for summer track, they can use Canada Pay, correct? I know some of them are using the indoor track that we have in the dome.
I have to get with Tim on that, but I know they have their own super track team. So.
We work around the time, and MoPac, like she was just asking.
Didn't we do that last year? Didn't you, Davila, didn't you locate somebody to the back last year?
We did it. We did it on our field and we did it in the upstairs track. A lot of the time, because it's so hot, the heat index is through the roof. We take the dome B and they go upstairs and work on
Use
it.
the indoor track.
So it's sufficient. It works, so. But we could, we have all access to town. If we get one.
More just because we're in open session and there was mention of lawsuits, just most people who are maybe listening, we do have immunity from any injuries,
Oh, okay.
even if it's due to disrepair. So I just want to put that out there in case anyone's listening in gets an idea.
I just worry about the safety of the children.
No, I understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Worry, because I know last year, I did get phone calls, kids falling, scraping their knees, and I mean, come on.
That's why we put it as one of the low hanging fruit when we're talking about what are the things that we're looking at to see. We made sure to include that because we know about this,
Yeah.
the hazards.
I just worry about the kids.
Right.
All right, if there's nothing else for this board, having the board to declare this workshop adjourned at 8:53 p.m.
Don't